She's funny, I said, setting down my coffee. Lauren looked up from across the kitchen, too quick. Who? Rachel, I said, nodding toward the living room. Your new best friend. Rachel was laughing at something on her phone, legs tucked under her like she owned the place. Same wine glass she'd been sipping from the last 3 nights. Lauren smirked. Yeah, she's a riot. She live here now, or just test driving the cushions? Lauren shot me a glare. Don't be a dick, David. She's going through a lot. She needs space. Right. Space. That's why she kept finding her way into ours. 3 weeks ago, I'd never heard of Rachel. Now she was around more than Lauren's own sister. Yoga retreat, Lauren said. A reconnection. Some bonding. Deep emotional growth. I didn't ask questions at first, honestly. I was just happy Lauren was smiling again. Then I noticed the text tone. Rachel's messages had a different chime. One of those short, subtle ones people think they're clever for using when they're hiding something. Once, I picked up Lauren's phone by accident. Just wanted to see the time. Lock screen. Can't stop thinking about last night. No name. Just initials, RM. I didn't say anything. Instead, I Googled Rachel plus yoga retreat. Nothing. No group photos. No check-ins. No matching surnames. I even checked the retreat's Insta page. Lauren's in one picture. Alone. That night, I asked, what's Rachel's last name again? She blinked. Martinez. Too smooth. Too fast. Next day, I checked the mailbox. Nothing for a Rachel Martinez. But there was a letter addressed to Melissa Radcliffe. Same handwriting as the note Rachel had scribbled for Lauren on the fridge last night. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I waited until Lauren went to the store and Rachel stayed behind to finish her tea. I walked into the living room. She was texting, legs still curled up like this was her goddamn apartment. Melissa, I said. She froze. Slowly looked up. Excuse me. I held up the letter. Melissa Radcliffe. That's you, right? Her lips parted, somewhere between a smile and a threat. I think, she said, you should be very careful what you go looking for. And then she smiled. Real wide. Like she'd been waiting for this moment. I didn't tell Lauren what happened with Melissa. Not that night. Not yet. She came home with Thai food, all smiles and wine suggestions, like nothing had just happened in our living room. Meanwhile, Melissa sat at the table cool as hell, scrolling through her phone like she hadn't just told me, without saying the words, that she was here for war. Lauren said something about a new meditation app. I said I had work to finish. Ate in silence. Watched them exchange a look that didn't belong in a marriage. That night, I waited until Lauren fell asleep. Slipped out of bed. And I opened the drawer. Her nightstand was cluttered, like always. Lavender lotion, a charger cord frayed to hell, and a small stack of journals. Bingo. I didn't read them. Not then. But I checked the spines. One was newer. Not the kind of journal you write memories in, the kind you plan things in. Inside the front cover. Started new, Melissa reconnected May 7th. I flipped a few pages. To-do lists. Grocery items. A scribble. Condo walkthrough Tuesday at 10 with Mel. Don't forget lockbox code. We didn't own a condo. She never mentioned any real estate. I took a photo with my phone and slipped it back exactly as I found it. The next day, I called in sick. And I drove to the old neighborhood, where Lauren used to live after college. There was a woman I remembered. Cindy. Ran a bookstore 2 blocks from their old apartment. She and Lauren were close back then, before we married. The store was still there. I walked in, pretended to browse, then just came out with it. Hey, Cindy, I said. Do you remember a Melissa? Her face froze like I'd shot her. Melissa Radcliffe, she said slowly. I nodded. Lauren's old flame. They were wild for each other. Broke up messy, though. Screaming match in the alley behind the shop. Lauren never talked about it again. I felt the floor shift. And she never mentioned her since? She shook her head. I thought she moved across the country. Are they? Reconnected, I said, keeping my voice steady. Cindy didn't ask more. But her eyes said everything. Concern. Sympathy. Pity. I thanked her and left. That night, I looked up the lockbox code Lauren had written. Used it to search property listings. And there it was. 2-bedroom condo. Under contract. Buyers listed as Lauren K. plus M. Radcliffe. Not business partners. Not friends. Joint ownership. I waited until Lauren left for yoga. She always left the house with a mat, a water bottle, and the same lavender gym bag. But the yoga studio's Instagram hadn't posted a single group photo with her in weeks. I knew because I checked. Every morning. Like clockwork. That afternoon, I logged into our bank's business portal, something we'd opened together when Lauren started her freelance marketing gig. At first, it was just an account to hold small freelance checks. Now it had over $87,000 in it. I never put money there. She had. Every few weeks, $4,800, $5,100, sometimes $2,300. From Consulting Transfer, RMLLC, and Retreat Reserve. I clicked through the transaction history. 2 transfers had gone to a real estate escrow service. The same escrow service listed on the condo walkthrough sheet I'd seen in Lauren's planner. I pulled out my phone, took photos of everything, downloaded PDFs, forwarded them to a burner Gmail I'd created the night before. The deeper I dug, the worse it got. They weren't just playing house. Melissa had set up a shell company, RMLLC, 2 months before reconnecting with Lauren. The registered address? Our current home. Melissa didn't just want Lauren back. She wanted our life. That night, I confronted her. Didn't yell. Didn't throw anything. I just held up my phone at the dinner table. Tell me about RMLLC, I said. Lauren froze. Fork halfway to her mouth. What? RMLLC. The one sending money to your freelance account. The one funding the condo in Glendale. The one listed under our home address. She set her fork down slowly. Took a long breath. You're digging through my accounts now? I didn't answer. Just stared. And then she did what I feared most. She smiled. Not sheepish. Not embarrassed. Relieved. Like she'd been waiting for the curtain to drop. David, she said. You were never going to understand. So I stopped trying. And just like that, the version of Lauren I knew was gone. She didn't cry. That's what rattled me the most. Lauren didn't even try to spin it. No gaslighting. No fake outrage. Just this eerie calm like she'd been through this before, and maybe even knew how it would end. I stood there, barely touching my dinner, while she sipped her wine like we were debating whose turn it was to take out the trash. You stopped trying? I repeated, each word tasting like sand. She shrugged. You were always going to find out. Eventually. Find out what? I snapped. That you've been moving money with your friend? That you're buying a condo without telling your husband? That Melissa isn't Rachel from yoga, but your ex-girlfriend with a fake name and a fake LLC? Her jaw tightened, but not in guilt. Defiance. You think I didn't try to love you, she said. I gave this everything. For years. But you don't see me, David. You see what you want from me. I saw you, I said quietly. Until you disappeared behind a lie. She stood. Took her plate to the sink like we were done here. But I wasn't. The next morning, I took off work again. Called a PI. Not some cliché trench coat type, just a guy named Randall who used to work white-collar fraud for a bank before he got sick of the paperwork. I gave him Melissa's name. The condo listing. The LLC. He asked for 48 hours. He called back in 6. This isn't her first game, he said. Your wife's friend? Melissa? She's run this exact pattern before. Different name. Different woman. He sent over documents. A 2015 condo scam in Scottsdale, Arizona. A 2018 business embezzlement case in Denver. A restraining order from a woman named Camille, who'd also reconnected with Melissa through a spiritual retreat and ended up in debt with a ruined credit score. All the same pattern. Romantic reentry. Emotional support. Financial co-ownership. Ghost town. But the real kicker? Lauren's name showed up in a settlement agreement from Denver. Different last name, but same birthday, same middle name. Kay. I went cold. She hadn't been conned. She'd been on Melissa's team. Maybe she was groomed. Maybe she bought in. Maybe she liked it. But whatever it was, she'd done this before. She knew how it worked. Which meant this wasn't a crumbling marriage. It was a job. And I was just another blind husband too polite to look under the rug. The thing about being betrayed isn't the anger. It's the clarity. Like someone wiped a fogged-up mirror and finally, you see yourself, how long you've been lied to, how easy it was for them, how carefully it was all rehearsed. That night, while Lauren slept next to me like nothing happened, I lay still, listening to the low hum of her breathing, and planned. The next morning, I called Randall, the PI. You said Melissa's used LLCs before, I told him. Ever had access to her banks? He grunted. That's the hard part. Shells usually aren't in her name. But if they're transferring through Lauren's freelance account. They are, I said. And I have access. The business account had my name on it. Not primary, but co-owner. When we opened it, Lauren insisted we both be listed for tax reasons, she'd said with a laugh. That was her mistake. I sat down at my laptop, opened the banking dashboard, and initiated a new wire. $20,000, the same amount Melissa had moved just 2 weeks prior. Only this time, the destination wasn't the condo escrow. It was a shell Randall had set up for me that morning. Kettlewood Capital, registered in Delaware, anonymized, legal, untouchable. Before I clicked confirm, I sent myself a copy of the transfer. Then I changed the password. Then I revoked Lauren's access. No alerts went out. The system was slow, maybe 24 hours before she noticed. But I didn't wait. I printed out all of the LLC documentation, all the emails, the text I'd copied from her phone while she showered, the Gmail draft she'd forgotten to delete, written to Melissa, talking about a clean break, and David doesn't even suspect we're buying it with his money. Every dirty receipt. I slid them into an envelope and took a walk. Not to the police. Not yet. To her parents. Her father opened the door, Mr. Whitaker, the kind of man who wore stiff collars even on Sundays and hadn't spoken more than 5 words to me in years. He took the envelope, confused. I think you should see who your daughter really is, I said. He didn't invite me in. Didn't need to. 2 hours later, Lauren called me. 10 times. Left voicemails. Texts. What did you do? Why did you go to my dad? You're being crazy. David, this is harassment. And then the last one. You better put the money back or I'm calling a lawyer. I texted back. Already called one. He's looking into the Denver case. And the Scottsdale one too. Oh, and the new escrow company you don't control? It's mine now. Tell Melissa, I'm not your last mark. I'm your last mistake. Lauren always kept her second phone silent. Never on vibrate. Face down, nightstand drawer. She thought I didn't know. She thought wrong. I'd seen it weeks ago when she was fumbling with cords during a power outage. It lit up with a name I didn't recognize. MK. She panicked. Said it was her business phone. Claimed she only used it for vendor stuff. Except, no one texts a vendor at 2:15 a.m. with a heart emoji. So while she was out getting groceries that Saturday morning, I opened the drawer. Password screen. I didn't guess. I didn't need to. I'd planted a microcam in her office, pointed right at her desk, and earlier that week, she'd unlocked it on video. Her passcode? My birthday. The irony almost made me laugh. Once inside, I cloned the phone using a tool Randall gave me. Took 30 minutes. Full mirror. Texts, calls, photos, even her hidden folders. Then I waited. That night, I stayed awake in the guest room with headphones in. Midnight passed. 1 a.m. I almost gave up. Then, buzz. Incoming call. MK. She answered with a tired groan. No video. Just voice. Hey, she whispered. You alone? Melissa's voice replied. Cool. Alert. Always. Lauren sighed. It's getting worse. David's getting close. I don't think I can stretch this another week. You don't need a week, Melissa said. The wire went through. I'll finalize escrow tomorrow. We vanish Sunday. I told my dad I was leaving town for a retreat, Lauren said. He bought it. We're good. Then, a pause. Do you ever feel bad? Lauren asked. Melissa snorted. About what? About them. The men. The ones we leave behind. A laugh. Sharp. No. They build their lives like bunkers. We just find the loose bricks. Lauren didn't speak for a few seconds. Then, he used to make me feel safe. Melissa. He made you small. I'm giving you the world. What came next made me sit straight up. Lauren whispered, I want to make sure the papers get signed. The trust stuff. If he dies before that, I get nothing. Melissa replied. Then don't wait for him to get sick. Make sure he stays weak. The call ended. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at my ceiling, fist clenched. They weren't just leaving me. They were preparing to bury me before I ever saw it coming. Sunday morning. The day they planned to disappear. I was already dressed when Lauren came downstairs in her silk robe, hair still damp from the shower. She looked rested, relieved, like she'd already left me in her head. She gave me a tight smile, leaned in, kissed my cheek. "You're up early." I smiled back. "Couldn't sleep. Thought I'd make us breakfast. Waffles, bacon, eggs." I laid it out like old times. Hell, I even made fresh squeezed orange juice. She sat down, confused but not suspicious yet. "You didn't have to do all this," she said, sipping her coffee. I shrugged. Felt like one of those mornings. Might be our last in this house. She paused. Her fork hovered over her plate. "What do you mean?" I slid an envelope across the table. Cream-colored. Thick. Her name written in ink. Inside? A notarized statement. Bank screenshots. A photo of Melissa with a former victim from Denver, hand in hand at a retreat. And a copy of a letter I'd sent to the district attorney's office that morning. Marked confidential evidence submission. Lauren didn't touch it. She just stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "What is this?" I kept my eyes locked on hers. "It's everything. You, Melissa, the shell companies, the condo, the LLC you didn't think I'd find, the phone calls, the money." "I don't know what you're talking about," she said immediately. Rehearsed. Defensive. So I played the trump card. "I heard the call," I said. I heard her voice. "I heard you talk about making sure I stay weak, so you could get the trust signed." Her hand twitched. I leaned in. "You wanted to hollow me out, sign everything away, and then vanish before I got a chance to look you in the eye and say what I'm about to say now." She stood, trembling. "David, I filed for divorce. Yesterday." She froze. "Everything's in the envelope. My lawyer will contact you Monday. The house is in my name. The business account's frozen. Melissa won't see a dime. And you." I stood up. "You'll be lucky to walk away with the clothes you packed." Her voice cracked. "You can't do this." I stepped closer. "You made me feel like a placeholder. Like I was just in the way while you built your new life behind my back. But I'm not the placeholder, Lauren." I leaned in. "I'm the reckoning." She didn't speak. She just sat back down, looked at the full plate in front of her, and finally understood. This wasn't breakfast. It was her last meal. Melissa's yoga studio looked like a Pinterest board threw up on a strip mall. Sage bundles. Dream catches. Smooth jazz on loop. I walked in wearing khakis, a flannel, and a quiet smile. Just another guy with regret in his eyes. "Hi," she greeted, barely looking up from her screen. "Do you have an appointment?" "I do now," I said. She glanced up, froze. "David, good to see you again," I said calmly. "You've been hard to reach." Her smile flickered. "Lauren said you were taking time, figuring things out." "Funny," I said. "That's exactly what I've been doing." I sat down, dropped my phone on the table between us. Screen locked. But it was recording. She eyed it. "You're upset," she said, folding her hands like a therapist. "But I hope you realize none of this was malicious. Lauren just needed a way out." "A way out," I repeated. "By manipulating me, gaslighting me, planning to rob me blind with her old flame from Arizona who runs cons with 6-digit price tags." Her lips tightened. "Don't say things you don't understand." "Oh, I understand plenty." I leaned in. "I understand that the condo was never about peace or healing. I understand the LLC was meant to launder joint money under my nose. I understand you both thought I was too dull, too loyal, too comfortable to fight back." Melissa's tone turned icy. "You've made serious accusations, and I've backed them up." I pulled out a copy of the escrow documents. "Recognize this?" "I know the notary." She flipped. Her hands twitched. I continued. "There's something else. Someone wanted to meet you." A second figure walked in. Gray blazer. Federal ID clipped to his belt. "Melissa Kennedy?" he asked, flashing credentials. "Agent Barnes, Financial Crimes Division." She went pale. "I'm sorry, what is this?" she asked, standing too fast. "Preliminary inquiry," he said smoothly. "We received some material suggesting a pattern of fraudulent real estate activity across state lines. LLC abuse. Wire fraud. Possible conspiracy." Melissa looked at me. "You set me up." I smiled. "No, Melissa. You set the stage. I just pulled the curtain." She tried to grab her phone. Agent Barnes stopped her. "I'd advise you not to contact anyone," he said. "Especially not Lauren Whitaker. We're tracing communications." Her mouth moved, but no words came out. I stood, grabbed my phone, and turned to her. You could have kept your yoga, your vision boards, your fake peace, but you came after the wrong husband. By Monday morning, I'd filed everything. Fraud allegations, financial tampering. I even filed a motion to freeze the Scottsdale LLC. That was the one Lauren tried to shift assets into, thinking I wouldn't notice the $64,000 retreat development payment. It was listed as healing investment in the ledger. I listed it as evidence. My lawyer, Rachel, sent the packet to the local court. Public filing. By 4 p.m., a freelance journalist, someone I'd slipped a copy to, ran it on her blog under the headline. Local wellness duo accused of financial manipulation, hidden asset scheme. It caught fire. Lauren's face, mid-yoga pose, pulled from her old social media, was right there on the thumbnail. Melissa's name tagged. Even their Peace Cove Renewal Collective got dragged. That night, the call started. Her father, her friends, the HOA board she once chaired, all asking some variation of, "What the hell is this?" Lauren didn't call me. She texted once. "You're trying to ruin me." I replied, "I'm just letting the truth do its job." And then the DM came in. Private. No mutual connections. "Hi. You don't know me. My name is Lisa Hargrove. I saw your name in the blog about the real estate case. I need to talk to you. It's about Melissa." I almost ignored it. Thought it was bait. But her next message came with a scan lease, dated 2 years back. Melissa's name. Another LLC. Another healing center. Only this one was in Sedona, and the guy who co-signed? Marcus K. Divorced, bankrupt, and missing half his retirement savings. Lisa was his ex-wife. They'd lost their house over a second mortgage Melissa helped him take out, supposedly to manifest his healing vision. Once the funds cleared, she disappeared. Sound familiar? I called Agent Barnes. "Looks like we've got more victims," I said. He whistled. "Your ex-wife and her guru friend are about to find out the spiritual path leads straight to court." I stared at my screen. At the article. At Lauren's face. She didn't look spiritual. She looked cornered. She waited 5 days. Then the call came, 1 minute before midnight. I let it ring once, twice. Declined it. She called again. I answered. Silence. Then, David. Her voice was smaller than I remembered. Stripped. No sugar in the edges. Just raw static behind her breath. I didn't say a word. "I know what you think of me," she said. "I know what I did. I need to talk to you." Still, I said nothing. "You have every right to hate me," she continued. I got scared. I got greedy. Melissa filled my head with this idea of freedom, like I was trapped. And maybe I was, David. But not by you. By me. By who I let myself become. I exhaled. Quietly. The way you do when you're standing over a grave you didn't dig, but you still have to bury the past in. "I lost everything," she whispered. "They pulled my board seat. My dad won't take my calls. People I've known for years look at me like I'm something they need to scrub off their shoes. I thought you were the boring one, but I didn't see it. You were the anchor." Still no response. She sniffled. "Can we just meet? Talk? No yelling. I just want to talk. You were my best friend." I glanced at the manila envelope on my desk. Inside, the final divorce papers. Notarized. Signed. Witnessed. Rachel would file them tomorrow. I reached for the phone. "I died," I said. "The man you married? He's buried. This version? He doesn't need you." Then I hung up. No dramatic goodbye. No screaming. No second chances. I turned the phone off, picked up the envelope, and slid it into my briefcase. Outside, the night was cold. Quiet. The kind of silence that feels earned. I stepped into my truck and drove to the notary's office. She was waiting with the light on. I handed her the folder. She scanned it, nodded, and pressed the final stamp with a soft thump. It was done. The anchor she ripped off my chest? I melted it down and reforged it as armor. Lauren wanted to take everything, so I gave her nothing. And for the first time in years, I wasn't scared. I wasn't angry. I wasn't lost. I was free.